Around the first or second week of November, I asked her how a young single guy like me was going to cook a turkey by himself. She didn't say anything at the time, just kind of smiled like she hadn't understood the question. 2 days before Thanksgiving, she came down to the office and handed me a white index card with directions on one side on how to roast a turkey. On the other side, she had written, "To Alan, a nice young man with nobody to cook for him yet. Your friend, Maggie." A week later, I read her file. 5 years ago, on an August night in a trailer park near Longmont, she shot her drunk husband 3 times in the face with his own gun, a .38 snub-nosed revolver. They were sitting at the kitchen table at the time. One bullet is supposed to have entered his right eye and exited the back of his head, hitting their 19-year-old daughter Angela in the knee. I've met her. She's very slender, almost frail-looking, with narrow hips and big breasts, and her face always looks like it's about to tell you bad news. But her hair is black and her eyes are dark, and she's very pretty. I shine my light near the bedside table and see the papier-mâché Christmas tree that Angela and her little boy made for Maggie. It's painted dark green with little white styrofoam crystals glued all over it. On top is a red star made out of construction paper. I look once more at Maggie's blue sleeping cap, mark her name off on my clipboard, then flick off my flashlight and pull the door shut. On the second floor, I stop and look out the big window that faces the street. The night sky is so pretty out here. There are no city lights like in Denver where I live, and you can see the quarter moon so clearly hanging there bright above the sheer rise of Dead Goat Ridge. Below it, in the middle of one of the steepest-looking foothills, is a huge glowing 5-pointed star nestled in the snow and pine trees. Leon tells me there's a fancy French restaurant up there, and what you see that looks magical but isn't is a huge wooden frame built about 6 feet off the ground in the shape of a star, a string of 300-watt light bulbs nailed all around it. He says some Christmases a couple of the valets from the restaurant have to go up there in snowshoes and dig it out when the snow gets too deep. I look away from the star down to the snow and ice-covered roofs of Fraternity Row, then down farther to the street corner in front of the center. There's a cruiser from the Boulder County Sheriff's Department parked just out of the circle of light the street lamp gives off. A flame lights a cigarette on the driver's side. I think about what that state trooper said before he left tonight. Leon and I had just given him a copy of our escape report on Elroy, and he was leaving in a hurry, but not before he turned to us and said, "Don't take this lightly now. We're talking about a convicted murderer here." Then he tipped his visor with 2 fingers like John Wayne and said, "Stay away from those windows," and left. None of the officers from the sheriff's department would have talked down to us like that. They know what a good program this is. I think it's us not wearing uniforms or carrying weapons that the troopers don't understand. 10 years ago, these rooms were full of sorority girls, and we're still right in the middle of Fraternity Row. There are no bars on the windows. If one of our 52 inmates wants to leave, we're not going to stop them. Not many leave, though. All of them are looking at parole, and if they do escape, they can expect another 4 to 8 years hard time tacked on to their original sentence. That's why I can't figure Elroy doing what he did tonight, though the signs were definitely there. These past few nights, he's been coming down to the staff office just to talk with Leon and me. Well, we got a big kick out of that one. Elroy wanted to talk to us. Lately, he has been submitting essays to the House paper about Big Brother and the police state we're all living in and the so-called merits of anarchy. In one of them, he referred to us correctional technicians as, quote, ball-licking lackeys for Ronald Reagan's Ministry of Mendacity, unquote. Personally, I don't know what good we do ourselves letting them print that kind of talk. I mean, it doesn't make our jobs any easier. And I don't know how Elroy was able to get into our work release center anyway. He served only 11 years for being a man to death and all, a U.S. soldier to boot. But at night in the office, he has been very polite, sipping his coffee and talking about the different effects snow has on people and smiling all along like we are colleagues unwinding at a tea party together or something. He's usually always clean-shaven, but these past few days he has let a white stubble come out on his perpetually red face. That's what I should have noticed. His change in hygiene habits combined with his newfound friendliness towards us staff members. Changes like that should be taken note of. They can mean an inmate's getting ready to do something drastic like escape or maybe